Everybody says patience pays off. You have heard it 1,000 times. But here is the truth. Most people are biologically incapable of waiting. They want the reward now, and when they cannot get it, they sabotage themselves. That is why you scroll instead of working, spend instead of saving, eat instead of fasting, and choose comfort instead of growth. The issue is not that you lack discipline. The issue is that your brain is wired to prioritize immediate reward over delayed benefit. Unless you know how to reprogram it, you will keep losing the long game. In this video, you will learn the delayed reward protocol, a system that trains your dopamine circuits to tolerate and even crave delayed gratification. Once you install it, you will have a weapon most people never develop: strategic patience that wins in career, finance, and life. Here is the starting point. Dopamine does not reward you when you achieve the goal. It rewards you when you expect a goal and feel it is near. This means your brain is constantly asking one question: is the payoff close enough to be worth the effort? If the answer is yes, motivation rises. If the answer is no, motivation crashes. That is why you give up on long-term projects. The finish line is too far away for your brain to care. The solution is to hack this system by building controlled micro-delays into your daily life. These small acts of delayed reward retrain your brain to value long-term outcomes without collapsing into distraction. Think of it as installing a new operating system, one that makes waiting feel natural instead of painful. Step 1 in the protocol is micro-delay training. Start with something trivial, like food or phone use. When you feel the impulse to grab a snack or check your messages, delay the action by just 60 seconds. That delay is not about willpower. It is about creating a new association in the brain. Instead of dopamine firing only at instant action, it begins to fire during the waiting period. You are teaching your brain that the anticipation itself is rewarding. Repeat this with small impulses every day, and you expand your tolerance window. Within weeks, the same system that made you impatient now makes you comfortable with waiting. Step 2 is graduated delay. Once you can comfortably wait 60 seconds, extend it to 5 minutes, then 15, then an hour. This is not about suffering. It is about conditioning. Each extension strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-control, while reducing the dominance of the limbic system that demands instant reward. Think of it like progressive overload in the gym. You don't lift the heaviest weight on day 1. You build strength gradually. With dopamine, the wait is time. The longer you can hold out, the stronger your capacity for strategic patience becomes. Step 3 is targeted application. Now you take this trained patience and apply it to domains with high leverage: money, business, and relationships. In finance, this means delaying unnecessary spending for 48 hours before making a purchase. That micro-delay often reveals that the desire was impulsive and saves you from financial leakage. In business, it means resisting the urge to chase every shiny opportunity and instead holding position until the higher value play emerges. In relationships, it means pausing before reacting emotionally, which gives you space to respond strategically rather than impulsively. These are not abstract ideas. Each is a direct translation of the protocol into measurable advantage. Here is why this works at the neurochemical level. Dopamine neurons fire not just at the reward, but at the prediction of reward. When you teach your brain that waiting is part of the game, the neurons start to release dopamine during the wait itself. That changes everything. Suddenly, the act of holding back feels good. This is how elite investors, entrepreneurs, and athletes operate. They are not superhuman. They simply train their systems to generate reward from the wait, while everyone else suffers in it. This is the gap between those who chase pennies and those who build empires. There is also a compounding effect. Every time you delay gratification, you build evidence that you can trust yourself. That evidence stacks into identity. You stop being someone who breaks under pressure and start being someone who holds for the bigger prize. Identity is the most powerful reinforcement system. Once your brain believes you are a patient strategist, every action you take aligns with that identity. Discipline stops being effort and becomes natural expression. That is the true power of the delayed reward protocol. It transforms patience from a struggle into a core part of who you are. Let me give you a tactical drill you can start today. Pick one daily behavior where you usually act on impulse: checking social media, drinking coffee, or buying something online. Set a rule that every time the urge hits, you wait for just 2 minutes before acting. Use a timer if you need to. In those 2 minutes, breathe, stand tall, and let the urge wash over you without responding. Then, if you still want it after 2 minutes, you can take it. What you will notice after a week is that half the time the urge disappears before the timer runs out. Your brain is already learning that the anticipation itself is enough. From there, increase the delay gradually. That is the foundation of rewiring. The key insight is this: delayed gratification is not about saying no. It is about training yourself to enjoy waiting. When you enjoy waiting, you are free. You no longer chase quick dopamine hits like everyone else. You can stay in the game longer, hold your position while others panic, and capitalize when the bigger opportunity arrives. This applies to building wealth, scaling a career, and even shaping your health. The winners are not the most talented. They are the ones who trained themselves to wait without breaking. And now you know how to install that training. Here is where the protocol becomes a competitive edge instead of just a mental exercise. In markets, careers, and negotiations, the person who can wait strategically always dominates the person who needs immediate payoff. Investors who can hold their position during volatility end up capturing the exponential growth curve. Professionals who can delay the urge for quick recognition and instead keep building expertise become irreplaceable. Entrepreneurs who can resist chasing fast cash and instead reinvest for scale build empires while everyone else burns out. Patience in these contexts is not passive. It is the most aggressive strategy available because it lets you hold fire while others waste their ammunition. The delayed reward protocol is what allows you to weaponize patience instead of suffering under it. Let's zoom into the mechanics again. When you insert micro delays, you are literally rewiring your dopamine baseline. Most people's dopamine curve spikes at instant action and then crashes, leaving them restless. Through training, you flatten that spike and shift it forward. Your brain begins to release dopamine in smaller, steadier doses over time instead of dumping it all up front. That shift in baseline gives you stable motivation for long projects. Imagine your competitors running on quick sugar highs burning out after a week while you are running on steady fuel for months. That is the biological advantage you are creating. Now let's make this tactical with a 3-phase drill. Phase 1 is micro-waiting. Every time you crave an impulse hit, like opening a notification or eating sugar, you wait for 2 minutes. This is your baseline conditioning. Phase 2 is scheduled waiting. You intentionally delay a daily habit like coffee or entertainment by 30 minutes to 1 hour. This conditions your system to accept longer delays without distress. Phase 3 is leveraged waiting. You apply the same pattern to high-value areas like purchases, investments, or decisions. For example, you wait 72 hours before making a non-essential purchase, or you force yourself to sit on a new business idea for 1 week before acting. Each phase builds on the last, training your circuits to find satisfaction in waiting. That is how you create a mind that thrives in the long game. Another key principle is substitution. Delaying gratification is not about sitting in pain. It is about replacing the quick hit with a more strategic action. If you delay checking your phone, use that waiting window to take 3 deep breaths and visualize your long-term outcome. If you delay eating, use the window to drink water or review your plan for the day. You are not just waiting. You are turning the waiting period into an action loop that reinforces your identity. This makes the delay not just tolerable but productive. Over time, your brain associates waiting with progress, not suffering. That is the real rewiring. You should also track your delayed wins visibly. Your brain loves evidence. Create a scoreboard where you mark every micro-delay you successfully completed. At the end of the week, review the streak. That review itself is a reward. It shows your brain that patience produced tangible wins. Without tracking, the brain forgets the victory and reverts to old patterns. With tracking, you build proof of your identity as someone who can hold out for bigger rewards. That proof is what compounds into lasting change. Let's talk about failure. You will slip. You will give in to impulses. That is not the problem. The real danger is the identity spiral that follows. Most people say, I broke the delay, therefore I am weak, therefore I should stop trying. That spiral kills momentum. The protocol teaches you to reset instantly. When you fail, you simply start the next delay immediately. By keeping the cycle short, you prevent failure from compounding into identity collapse. Remember, your brain is trained by frequency, not perfection. 10 small delays with 1 failure is still 10 times better conditioning than 0 attempts. The highest level of this protocol is learning to delay recognition. This is where careers are truly built. Instead of needing constant praise, you build in silence until your work speaks so loudly it cannot be ignored. This is what separates average performers from the people who change industries. They are not chasing likes or compliments today. They are holding out for positioning that pays off for decades. That kind of patience is rare, which is why it produces outsized results. And you can train it the same way you train any other delay. Start small, build tolerance, expand the window, and reinforce the identity. The delayed reward protocol does not make life harder. It makes it easier. When you stop chasing every short-term hit, you free up time, energy, and money for moves that matter. Instead of scattering your attention, you accumulate leverage. Instead of draining your dopamine on junk, you invest it in growth. You stop being ruled by impulses and start being ruled by strategy. That is how you win the long game. You cannot control luck or talent, but you can absolutely control your ability to wait. And in a world addicted to instant gratification, patience itself is a superpower. So here is your action plan. Starting today, delay one impulse by 2 minutes. Build from there. Expand the delays, apply them to higher stakes, track your wins, and reinforce your identity. Within weeks, you will notice you are calmer, more focused, and less reactive. Within months, you will see financial, career, and personal gains that compound far beyond what you imagined. And within years, you will be operating on a level most people never touch, simply because you trained your brain to value the long game. This is the delayed reward protocol. Install it, live it, and make patience your most aggressive weapon. And if you want to keep adding these kinds of codes to your arsenal, subscribe to Success Code right now. This channel is where you build the mental software that gives you an unfair advantage in performance, wealth, and life.